Alright everyone, Kamala Harris effectively now has three political career trajectories that she can go on. She can run for the presidency, she can run for the gubernatorial slot in California because Newsom's likely to try to run in 28, and that'll be vacant, or she can basically retire and go work for MSNBC or something like that. It appears there's an insinuation by the people that she hasn't laid off at least, which is most of her staff. There's an insinuation among some of them that she intends to actually be insane enough to run in 2028 for the presidential slot. This would be a huge, massive error. She would not, by the way, even win in the primaries. I think Newsom would beat the shit out of her. Whitmer would beat the shit out of her. I still think that the Democrats are going to end up having to run a dark horse candidate Obama style, as none of the establishment candidates are probably capable of winning in the general election. I think that the likelihood is you end up with Vance versus some dark horse Democratic candidate. And I think that it would be probably Vance's to lose at that point. He's well spoken, he's relatively young, he'll have vice presidential experience, he'll be the heir apparent for Trump and the MAGA movement. I think that he can probably carry it. Some MAGA have problems with J.D. Vance. Give him a fucking chance, though. Give Vance a chance should be his goddamn slogan, actually, at this point. I think that he'll do a generally good job, and I think that they're underestimating him. But Kamala is not capable of winning that kind of contest. If she decides to run for an empty gubernatorial slot in California, that would be the wise decision, then she will probably win, because California is deep blue. It appears that there is relatively high confidence in her among Californians. I mean, maybe not the sane ones, but, you know, the average Californian's not exactly sane. She probably would win. Even with the jungle primary system, running against another Democrat simply because of her name recognition. If Trump does anything wrong especially, she can harp on it. Oh, I was right, huh? And do the, the sassy black lady thing. She would win fairly easily. She'd probably get 60-70% of the vote. If she's crazy enough to run for the presidency, though, I think that she loses. I don't think, unless Trump catastrophically fails, and she says, look, I tried to stop him, but, he fucked up. I tried to tell you this before. Only under that circumstance would she be likely to have any chance at all of ever becoming president of the United States. And if she's running against Vance, somebody much younger, much more well-spoken, she loses. If she's running against like a Gabbard or somebody like that, and I would prefer Tulsi Gabbard over even J.D. Vance, by the way, she will lose. I would just make my prediction on day one. I'd say, okay, I know who the candidates are. I know exactly how this is going to pan out. It's going to be a bloodbath, especially if it's Gabbard. Because Gabbard already destroyed her at one of the Democratic debates back when she was running for the presidency for the Democratic Party. I don't know that Gabbard still has those ambitions. No, I still want to see President Anna Luna or something like that, and have a very attractive president. It'd be fun. Now, I just don't think if she really does have those ambitions, if she's really that out to lunch that she thinks that she can possibly win in 2028, again, sans a catastrophic failure that she can do the I told you so thing with, then she's nuts. And honestly, I think that Trump's second term will be more successful than his first. His hiring decisions have been better. He's obviously organized his priorities in a more hierarchical fashion, a more linear fashion. He's doing much better already than he was in 2016. You got to realize he didn't have any experience in politics back then. Now he's got experience, he's setting things up, and he's trying to plan things out ahead of time, which is exactly what he needs to do. As long as he prioritizes properly in the first 100 days, MAGA will become unstoppable, at least during this current political paradigm. And if you think that Kamala Harris is the person who's going to break the current political paradigm and end up like, Times Person of the Year, Kamala Harris, first woman president, that's not going to happen. Those ambitions are effectively dead. But she can become governor of California very, very easily. It wouldn't be difficult as long as Newsom runs. He probably loses too, but we'll wait and see. I would advise her to do that. If I were Team Kamala, I'd say, look, you're not going to become president of the United States. It's just not going to happen. But you can always get the Silver Award, the second place award, and become governor of California for several terms. It won't be difficult. There's nobody else apparently nobody's probably even going to bother running against you. So you can just fucking grab it and go. And just do that. If she decides to exit politics, which is also possible, I mean, we're getting the unnamed sources sort of game here, where some of them are saying, oh, she plans to run for the presidency. Many of them are saying, well, she plans to run for the gubernatorial slot, but again, you would have to have that vacated first. The third priority would be simply write a book, work for MSNBC, become the next Joy Reid. You'd probably have a more popular time slot too. I mean, they're not going to deny you a job if you decide to say, hey, you know, I'd like to read the news for a living, do like a podcast broadcast sort of thing. They're not going to say no to her. She's Kamala Harris. She's been a vice president of the United States. She does have, admittedly, significant name recognition. And she can ramble about Trump endlessly for the next few years because that's what she would be reduced to doing. I mean, that's normal for the legacy media at this point, but she could definitely do it well. It'd be funny to see her, like, interview people, and she cackles all the time, and they're like, what? Imagine, she gets, like, a George Stephanopoulos or, Howard Stern or something like that in for an interview. Or Stephen King, goddamn, Ron Perlman, Harry Sisson, gets him in for an interview, and she's just, like, cackling the entire time at everything that they say. It'd almost be a comedy show. Hell, you could revive MSNBC. I'll give the liberals a piece of advice here. Hire Kamala Harris, give her a primetime slot, and let her laugh at everything that everyone says. Because it'll be so cringe, people will tune in simply to see the cringe. It'll actually boost your ratings. I mean, you might bypass CNN at that point. It'd be hysterical. I know I would watch it. I'd be like, oh, look at the fucktard is cackling again. Thank goodness she never got elected to the presidency. But I think the presidential ambitions thing, if she really does have that in mind, she is absolutely fucking batshit. And we dodged, by the way, one hell of a bullet not electing her. Because judging based on her actions after losing, she's basically disappeared and she's sulking. She's made, one public appearance since then. She's not the sort of person that deals well with pressure. She's not the sort of person that, 6 a.m., you're dragged into the bunker, the Russian missiles are flying. She's not the sort of person who would be able to handle that sort of situation. And we're in a dangerous world right now. Mitch McConnell's right for the wrong reasons. We are in a dangerous world. We need somebody who's capable of making those executive decisions on the fly at a moment's notice. Kamala Harris is definitely not that person. But Governor of California, fine. If the Californians are stupid enough to elect her, and I wouldn't be surprised if they were, then, have fun. Have fun with your shitty economy. That's about all. Peace out.